Sema stepped between them, her weight centered on the balls of her feet. Fingers loose, ready, eyes stripped of their usual deference, locked onto Park Sang-woo with cold calculation. "Sir," she said quietly, "step back." The private VIP room at the Velvet Tower went silent. Park Sang-woo, the man who made waitresses disappear for spilling drinks, stared down at the server who dared give him orders. "What did you just say to me?" Behind Sema, the elderly Korean woman who'd accidentally bumped into her struggled to stand, blood trickling from her split lip. The tray of champagne glasses lay shattered across marble, expensive liquid pooled around designer shoes. The woman had been looking for her son. Walked into the wrong room, bumped the waitress. The drinks went flying. Now Park Sang-woo wanted blood. Sema had watched it happen. Watched Sang-woo's face twist with rage. Watched him strike the old woman down like she was nothing. And Sema had stood frozen. Rule number 1, keep your head down. Rule number 2, never defend anyone. Rule number 3, never let them see what you really are. 3 months at the Velvet Tower, 3 months of following those rules, 3 months of tracking Jin Minwoo, waiting for him to lead her to his mother, the woman who killed Sema's mother 8 years ago. Then Sang-woo drew back his Italian shoe to kick the elderly woman. Something inside Sema shattered. Now Sang-woo looked at her like she was an object for his amusement or destruction. "Move, waitress, before I have my men teach you what happens to servers who forget their place." 6 guards shifted behind him. Sema's afro caught the light from the chandeliers. Full, unapologetic, impossible to tame. She didn't move. "No, sir," she said, "I don't think I will." But before Sema's carefully laid plans explode in 18 seconds of brutal chaos, if you love stories about women who've waited years for justice, dangerous family secrets that collide in unexpected ways, and revenge that refuses to stay buried, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Trust me, you'll want to see what happens when the hunter saves the wrong person, or maybe exactly the right one. The temperature dropped. Sang-woo's face went from amused to lethal. "You think these walls protect you?" He stepped closer, close enough that she could smell expensive cologne over cruelty. "I've killed women for less. What makes you special?" Behind her, the elderly woman whispered in Korean, urgent, frightened. "Please don't, just go. I'm not worth—" "You're worth it," Sema cut in, not taking her eyes off Sang-woo. Her Korean was perfect, native, the sole accent her father had drilled into her along with combat forms. Sang-woo's eyes narrowed. "Korean? A half-breed playing waitress." He gestured to his men. "Teach her some manners. Break her fingers first." The first guard moved. Sema had half a second to make a choice. 3 months of surveillance, 8 years of hunting, or 18 seconds of truth. The guard reached for her shoulder. Sema moved. Her left hand caught his wrist mid-grab, twisted. Bone snapped clean, surgical. Her right palm drove into his solar plexus. Air exploded from his lungs. He folded. 2 seconds. The second guard rushed from her right. Big, trained, confident, wrong. Sema dropped low, swept his lead leg. He stumbled forward. She rose inside his guard, elbow driving into his liver with her full body weight behind it. His eyes went white. He hit marble and stayed down. 4 seconds. Guards 3 and 4 came together, coordinated, smart, not smart enough. Sema grabbed the nearest champagne bottle from the floor, swung it like a club into the third guard's temple. Crystal exploded. Blood mixed with premium Dom Perignon. He crumpled. The fourth guard grabbed for his gun. Sema caught his wrist before the weapon cleared his jacket, redirected the draw, slammed his hand and the gun into the mahogany table. Edge. Bones cracked. The weapon clattered free. She caught it mid-fall, ejected the magazine in one fluid motion, threw both pieces in opposite directions. 9 seconds. The fifth guard already had his weapon out, aimed at her center mass. Young, maybe 25, hands shaking just enough to matter. "Don't move." Sema looked at him, really looked. "You don't want to do this," she said quietly. "I said—" She moved, closed the 3 meters between them before his finger could complete the trigger pull, knocked the gun skyward with her left hand. The shot punched a hole in the ornate ceiling. Plaster rained down. Her right hand drove into his throat, controlled, precise, just enough pressure. He dropped the gun, clawing at his neck. She swept his legs. He went down, gasping. 13 seconds. The sixth guard had used the chaos to circle behind her. Professional, patient, gun out, aimed, finger on trigger. Freeze. Sema dropped into a crouch. He fired. The bullet passed, through the space where her head had been a heartbeat before. She grabbed the elderly woman's fallen purse, designer leather surprisingly heavy, and hurled it at his face. He flinched, half a second of distraction. She closed the distance, disarmed him with a wrist lock that made him scream, drove her knee into his midsection. He doubled over. She brought her elbow down on the base of his skull. He crumpled like paper. 18 seconds. 6 men down. 6 expensive suits ruined. 6 careers ended. Sema stood in the center of the carnage, breathing steady, not even winded. Park Sang-woo stared at her like he was seeing a ghost. Then he reached for his own gun. Sema was faster. She crossed the room in 3 strides, caught his wrist as the weapon cleared his jacket, twisted until he cried out and dropped it. She kicked it away, spinning him around and putting him on his knees with a joint lock that made his shoulder scream. "You want to know what makes me special?" She whispered in his ear. "I'm the daughter of a man who taught me that monsters like you never stop existing, and you just reminded me why he was right." She released him. He collapsed forward, gasping. Sema turned to the elderly woman, extended her hand. "Can you walk?" The woman stared at her with wide eyes, then, slowly, took her hand. "Who are you?" "Someone who's about to lose her job." Sema pulled her up gently. "We need to go, now." Behind them, Park Sang-woo was already reaching for his phone with his good hand. Sema grabbed the woman's scattered belongings, lipstick, compact, phone, keys, stuffed them back in the designer purse, and pulled her toward the service exit. The Velvet Tower's back hallways were a maze of exposed pipes and flickering fluorescent lights. Service staff scattered like roaches as Sema rushed past, the elderly woman stumbling to keep up in her heels. "Where are we going?" "Somewhere safe." "But my son, he'll be worried. I was supposed to meet him." "He'll find you, I promise." They burst through the kitchen exit into the alley. Seoul's night air hit them like a wall, cold, polluted, alive with neon and exhaust fumes. Sema scanned the street with practiced efficiency. No black cars, no guards, not yet. She flagged down a taxi, helped the woman into the back seat, gave the driver an address in Itaewon, one of 3 safe houses she maintained. As the taxi pulled away from the curb, Sema looked back through the rear window at the Velvet Tower's gleaming facade. 43 floors of glass and steel and dirty money, 3 months of careful surveillance, 8 years of patient hunting, gone in 18 seconds. The apartment in Itaewon was 3 floors up, no elevator. Sema unlocked 4 different locks, 2 deadbolts, 1 chain, 1 electronic keypad before pushing the door open. "Inside, quickly." The elderly woman stepped into the tiny space and stopped. 1 room serving as bedroom, living room, and office. Kitchenette crammed in the corner. Futon that doubled as a couch. Single window with bars and blackout curtains. No decorations, no photographs, no personal items except a small wooden box on the shelf. A place designed for one purpose: abandonment at a moment's notice. "You live here?" The woman's voice carried no judgment, only sadness. "For now." "So alone?" Sema locked the door, all 4 locks, then wedged a chair under the handle for good measure, a habit from too many close calls. "Alone is safer." The woman studied her in the harsh overhead light, the afro that refused to conform to any professional standard, the calloused knuckles of someone who'd spent years hitting things, the way she moved, always aware of exits, always positioned between threats and escape routes. "You're not just a waitress." "No. And you speak Korean like a native, better than some natives." "My father was Korean." "Was?" "Dead, 20 years now." Sema pulled out a first aid kit from under the sink, well-stocked, frequently used. "Sit, let me look at that cut." The woman sat on the futon. Sema knelt in front of her, cleaning the split lip with practiced efficiency. The woman's eyes never left her face. "Your father taught you Korean?" "Among other things." Sema applied butterfly bandages with steady hands. "And how to fight." "I can see that. Those men, you moved like a professional. Military? Special forces?" "Something like that." Sema stepped back, examining her work. "You'll bruise, but nothing's broken. You're lucky." "Lucky?" The woman laughed softly. "I walked into the wrong room, interrupted a business meeting, got struck by a gangster, and had to be rescued by a waitress half my size. That's not luck." "You're alive. That's luck." Sema pulled out her phone, one of 2 she carried. "You said you have a son. What's his name?" The woman hesitated, then, "Jin Doyen." Sema's fingers froze over the screen. Jin Doyen, the Jin Doyen, Seoul's most... Powerful Mafia boss, the man who controlled half the city's underground operations, the ghost who'd never been photographed clearly, never been arrested, never been touched by law enforcement, and Jin Minwoo's cousin, her target's cousin. "Your son is Jin Doyan," she said flatly, pieces falling into place. "Yes, the Jin Doyan. Is there another?" The woman smiled slightly despite her split lip. Sema set down the phone and laughed. It came out bitter, edged with irony sharp enough to cut. "I just saved the mother of the most dangerous man in Seoul. Perfect, that's just perfect." "You didn't know. I thought you were just an old woman in the wrong place at the wrong time." Sema picked up the phone again. "Why were you at the Velvet Tower tonight? What were you doing in that room?" The woman's expression shifted, embarrassment mixed with maternal frustration. "Looking for my son. He owns a private room there. VIP 7, 7th floor. I went to surprise him." She sighed. "My son is 34 years old and refuses to even consider marriage. Won't give me grandchildren. Won't even bring a woman to family dinner. So I decided to confront him. Tell him he's not getting any younger, that I want to see my grandchildren before I die." "And?" Sema prompted. "I took the elevator to the 7th floor, but when I got off, I got confused. The hallway looked different than I remembered. I thought maybe they'd renovated. I saw men in expensive suits through an open door and assumed it was my son's meeting. He's always meeting with someone. So I walked in to interrupt him, teach him not to hide from his mother." She shook her head. "But it wasn't my son. It was those terrible men. And when I tried to leave, I bumped into you, the drinks went everywhere, and that monster, Park Sang-woo, struck me like I was nothing, like I was trash." Her voice hardened. "No one has struck me in 40 years." Sema processed this. The woman had been on the wrong floor, entirely. VIP 7 was 7th floor. She'd somehow ended up on the 9th floor, where Jin Minwoo frequently met with associates, where Sema had been watching him for 3 months. Pure accident. Or was it? "You need to call your son," Sema said, handing over her burner phone. "He needs to know you're safe. He'll want to meet you." "That's not, you saved my life, please, it's the least I can do." The woman took the phone, dialed from memory. It rang twice. "Uma?" The voice was deep, controlled, but underneath, genuine worry that money and power couldn't hide. "Where are you? I've been calling your phone for the past hour. You're not answering. What's going on? Are you all right?" "I'm safe, Doyan, but something happened." The woman glanced at Sema. "I went to the Velvet Tower to surprise you. I wanted to talk to you about finding a wife and giving me grandchildren. I was looking for your private room, VIP 7 on the 7th floor, but I got confused and went to the 9th floor instead. I walked into a room where Park Sang-woo was meeting with people. He didn't appreciate the interruption." Silence on the other end. Then, in a voice that could freeze blood, "Did he touch you?" "A waitress saved me, fought 6 men, got me out safely." "A waitress?" The tone shifted, skeptical, analytical. "What waitress?" "She moves like, Doyan, I've never seen anything like it. 6 armed men in seconds, like it was nothing." Another silence. Longer. "Where are you now?" Jin Myung looked at Sema. Sema shook her head firmly. "Somewhere safe. She won't tell me where exactly. She's cautious." "Smart. Keep it that way for now." A pause. "Put her on the phone." Jin Myung extended the phone. Sema stared at it like it was a live grenade. "Please," the older woman said. "He just wants to thank you." Sema took the phone. "This is Sema. My mother says you saved her life." Jin Doyan's voice was different now, harder, analytical, stripping away pretense. 6 armed men, how long? 18 seconds. 18 seconds. He repeated it like he was testing the weight of the words. "Who are you?" "A waitress who was in the wrong place at the right time." "No, waitresses don't move like that. Waitresses don't have that kind of training. Waitresses don't take down 6 armed guards and walk away without a scratch." A pause. "Who are you really?" "Someone who doesn't like seeing old women get beaten." Noble, but insufficient. Another pause. "I'm going to find out anyway. I have resources. I can trace this call, identify you, run your background, know everything about you by morning. Or you can tell me now and save us both time." "Then use your resources." A low chuckle. "Fair enough. For now, keep my mother safe. I'll find you within the hour. Don't run. I'm very good at tracking people who run, and I'd rather we meet as allies than as hunter and prey." The line went dead. Sema stared at the phone. Jin Mi-young smiled sadly. He's stubborn, gets it from his father. I should leave, take you somewhere else. He can't find us if we move now. He'll find you anyway, he always does. The older woman touched her hand gently. And for what it's worth, I don't think you're afraid of my son. I think you're afraid of being found at all. Sema pulled her hand away and walked to the window, peered through a gap in the blackout curtain at the street below. Quiet, for now. 3 months of careful planning. She'd tracked Jin Minwoo from photographs, followed his patterns, gotten hired at the Velvet Tower to watch him, waiting for him to lead her to his mother, to Baek Ji-soo, the woman who'd killed her own mother. And now Jin Do-yeon was coming, the most dangerous man in Seoul, Minwoo's cousin. Everything was falling apart, or falling into place. She couldn't tell which yet. 16 minutes later, not an hour, 16 minutes, there was a knock on the door, 3 sharp raps, controlled. Patient. Sema checked the peephole. A man stood in the hallway, tall, easily 6'2", broad shoulders that filled out a tailored black suit like it was designed specifically for his frame. Dark hair styled back from a face that could have been carved from stone, all sharp angles and controlled intensity. Eyes that missed nothing. Jin Do-yeon. She'd never seen a clear photograph of him. He was famously camera-shy or camera-smart, but she knew. The way he carried himself, the way he stood perfectly still while radiating controlled power, the way the shadows seemed to bend around him. This was a man who didn't need to prove anything. His presence did it for him. She opened the door. They stared at each other for 3 full seconds. His eyes were dark, intelligent, assessing her the same way she was assessing him, looking for weaknesses, threats, advantages, reading her the way she was trying to read him. Sema, he said, not a question. Jin Do-yeon, you gonna let me in, or are we doing this in the hallway where my mother's security detail can hear every word? Sema's eyes flicked past him, spotted 2 men at the stairwell entrance, 2 more probably covering the back exit. Professional, discreet, lethal. She stepped aside. He walked past her into the apartment. His eyes swept the entire space in maybe 2 seconds, cataloged everything, the exits, the weapons within reach, kitchen knives, the chair under the doorknob, the first aid scissors on the counter, the defensive positioning of the furniture, the lack of personal items. Then he saw his mother. His expression cracked, just for a moment. Relief, love, vulnerability that money and power couldn't armor against. Uma. He crossed to her in 3 strides, knelt in front of the futon, examined the butterfly bandages on her lip with gentle fingers that had probably ordered men killed. He hit you. I'm fine. Park Sang-woo put his hands on you. His voice dropped 10 degrees into a register that promised violence. On my mother. And this young woman made him regret it very quickly. Jin Mi-young smiled. She was magnificent. Jin Do-yeon stood, turned to face Sema. She stood by the door, arms loose at her sides, weight balanced, ready. 6 men, he said. 18 seconds, where'd you train? That's not your business. You made it my business when you saved my mother's life. He pulled out his phone, tapped the screen, turned it to show her. Security footage, the Velvet Tower, VIP Room 9. Sema watched herself destroy 6 guards with brutal efficiency, watched herself disarm Park Sang-woo, watched herself lead Jin Mi-young out through the service entrance. This footage is already circulating in certain circles, Jin Do-yeon said, pocketing the phone. The underground is talking. Park Sang-woo has put out word. He wants the waitress who humiliated him. He's offering money, lots of it, for information, for delivery, for revenge. I'll handle it. Will you? Alone? He stepped closer, not threatening, assessing. Sang-woo has resources, manpower, allies. By tomorrow morning, every organization in Seoul will have your face, your description, your last known location. You can't hide from that, not in this city. Then I'll leave the city. And go where? Busan, Tokyo, Johannesburg? He shook his head. You saved my mother. That makes you valuable to Sang-woo's enemies, which makes you a target for his allies. But it also makes you valuable to me. I don't work for anyone. I'm not asking you to work for me. I'm offering protection, resources, a way to stop running, stop hiding, stop living in a 1-room apartment with 4 locks like a prisoner. In exchange for what? The truth. He held her gaze. Who are you really, and why were you at the Velvet Tower tonight? Sema's jaw tightened. Jin Do-yeon smiled slightly. Or I can tell you what I've already found. Your choice. He pulled out a tablet from inside his suit jacket, tapped the screen, turned it to show her financial records, transaction histories, offshore accounts, names and dates spanning 8 years. 3 months ago, you applied for a job at the Velvet Tower using the name Sema Han, he said. The ID was fake, professional grade. I traced it back to a forger in Itaewon. He was very helpful once I explained the situation. He told me you paid in cash, a lot of cash, more than any waitress should have. He swiped to another screen. So I traced the money, small cash withdrawals from different ATMs across Seoul. Always careful, always varied, but patterns emerge if you know where to look. They all connect back to a series of offshore accounts. And those accounts? He looked up at her. They're connected to an organization that was systematically dismantled over the past 8 years, piece by piece, person by person, asset by asset. Another swipe. A photograph appeared, an older Korean man in traditional hanbok, stern face, hard eyes. Jae-sung, Taemin, Korean Mafia boss who operated in Lagos, Nigeria in the late 1990s, built a significant operation there before returning to Seoul. He had a daughter, half Korean, half Nigerian, named her Hana Jae-sung after himself. She would be 28 now, about your age. Sema said nothing. Her face was stone. Jae-sung Taemin died 20 years ago. Jin Do-yeon continued, heart failure brought on by years of heavy drinking and what the doctor called profound melancholy. He'd been depressed since his fiancée, a Nigerian woman who worked in his household, died in childbirth. He raised their daughter alone, never remarried, never recovered. He set down the tablet. After his death, his organization fractured. Some lieutenants wanted his daughter to take over. She'd been trained, was legitimate heir. Others wanted to carve up the territory. What actually happened? The organization was systematically destroyed from the inside. Key people disappeared. Assets were liquidated. Operations were sabotaged. Within 8 years, nothing remained. He stepped closer. So here's what I think. I think Hana Jae-sung, who probably goes by Sema now, using her mother's name, spent 8 years dismantling her father's empire, making sure his legacy died with him, making sure no one could rebuild what he'd created. And I think she came to Seoul 3 months ago for a reason, got a job at the Velvet Tower for a reason, was watching someone there for a reason. Sema held his gaze, said nothing. The question, Jin Do-yeon said softly, is who were you watching and why? Silence stretched between them. Jin Mi-young watched from the futon, saying nothing, letting her son work. Finally, Sema spoke. Before my father died, he told me about my mother. Her name was Joyce. She worked in his household in Lagos. He fell in love with her. He'd been betrothed to a woman back in Korea since childhood. Family arrangement, business alliance. But he chose Joyce instead. Refused the betrothed woman. Planned to marry my mother. She walked to the window, looked out at the Seoul night. My mother died the night I was born. They said it was complications from childbirth. My father suspected otherwise but had no proof. He raised me alone, taught me Korean, taught me to fight, told me stories about my mother, how kind she was, how gentle, how she loved to sing. Her voice hardened. He told me about the woman he'd rejected, how she'd been furious, how she'd threatened him, how she'd disappeared back to Seoul after my mother died. She turned to face Jin Do-yeon. 2 years after my father died, I started investigating. I found the nurse who'd been present at my birth. It took 3 months to find her, 2 weeks to make her talk. Sema's eyes were cold. She confessed that she'd been paid to poison my mother during labor, paid to make it look like childbirth complications. She gave me a name, told me the woman had married into a powerful Seoul family, had a son. Baek Ji-soo, Jin Do-yeon said quietly, my uncle's wife. Sema's world tilted. Your uncle's wife is the woman who killed my mother? If the timeline matches, yes. My uncle married Baek Ji-soo 20 years ago. She had a son, Jin Min-woo, my cousin. Before that? He pulled up another file on his tablet. Before that, her name was Baek Ji-soo, daughter of the Baek family, betrothed to Jae-sung Taemin in 1996. The engagement was broken the same year. She returned to Seoul and married my uncle 6 months later. The room spun, 3 months of surveillance, 8 years of hunting, and the woman she'd been looking for was Jin Do-yeon's aunt by marriage. I tracked her son, Sema said. Min-woo. Found out he frequents the Velvet Tower. I got a job there to watch him, figure out his patterns, wait for him to lead me to his mother. She laughed bitterly. And tonight, by pure accident, I saved your mother instead. Not accident, Jin Do-yeon said. My mother walked into that room because she was looking for me, in my private VIP room, but she went to the wrong floor, ended up where Minwoo was meeting with Park Sang-woo. If she hadn't bumped into you, hadn't spilled those drinks. He didn't finish. Jin Mi-young spoke for the first time. So you've been hunting the woman who killed your mother, and I'm married to her husband's brother. She stood, walked to Sema. Child, I'm so sorry for your loss, for your pain, and for my family's connection to it. It's not your fault. Perhaps not, but it's still my family. She touched Sema's face gently. What were you planning to do when you found her? Kill her, Sema said simply, the same way she killed my mother, justice. And after? Jin Doyen asked. After you kill her, then what? I don't know, I never thought past that moment. He nodded slowly. Then let me offer you a deal, a real one. Partners, not employer and employee. What kind of deal? My aunt is planning a coup. She wants her son to replace me as head of the family. She's been building alliances, paying off key people, setting up challenges to my authority. And tonight, my mother just happened to walk into a room where my cousin was meeting with Park Sang-woo, where she just happened to get hurt. He shook his head. That wasn't coincidence. Someone knew she'd be at the Velvet Tower. Someone made sure she'd end up in the wrong place. You think Baek Jisoo is behind tonight? I know she is, and I know she won't stop. He stepped closer. So here's my offer. You protect my mother. Stay close to her, keep her safe from whatever my aunt tries next. In exchange, I'll help you get justice. Not murder, justice. I'll help you prove what Baek Jisoo did. Expose her to the family. Make her face consequences for killing your mother, and when the time comes, you'll have your moment with her. Why not just tell the family now? Because in my world, proof is everything. Accusations without evidence are just politics. But if I can prove my aunt hired someone to kill your mother, prove she's been plotting against me, prove she's a threat to the family? He smiled without warmth. Then the family council will handle her, and their justice is often more thorough than a quick death. Sema studied him, looking for the trap, the manipulation, the angle, found only cold pragmatism and genuine love for his mother. 2 months, she said. I protect your mother for 2 months. You help me get proof against Baek Jisoo. We expose her together, then I'm free to go? 3 months. Some things take time. 10 weeks, not a day more. He extended his hand. Deal, partners. She looked at his hand. Her father's voice echoed in her memory. Never trust a man in a suit. They smile while they stab you. She took Jin Doyen's hand. Partners. His grip was firm, warm. The calluses on his palm matched hers, a fighter's hands hidden under tailored suits and expensive watches. I'll have a car pick you both up in 20 minutes, he said. My compound in Seongbuk-dong is secure. Guest wing for you, safe room for my mother if needed. Security that actually works. I can take care of myself. I know, but can you take care of my mother and yourself while Sang-woo hunts you and my aunt plots against us? He smiled slightly. Allies, remember? Let me handle the logistics. You handle the protection. 20 minutes later, a car arrived. Black, bulletproof. Driver with an earpiece and dead eyes that tracked every shadow. Sema packed everything she owned in 8 minutes. 1 backpack, 8 years of life. The car pulled away from the curb just as 3 black SUVs turned onto her street. Through the rear window, she watched men pour out, saw them storm her building. Park Sang-woo stood in the street, phone to his ear, screaming orders. Then they turned a corner and he disappeared. No going back now. Still hooked? You should be, because Sema just made a deal with Seoul's most dangerous man, and she has no idea how tangled their families really are. If you're loving this revenge story with unexpected twists, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Drop a comment with your prediction. Will this partnership help Sema get justice or destroy everything? Let me know. Jin Doyen's compound was everything the Velvet Tower pretended to be. Real power didn't need to show off. High walls topped with cameras. Guards who moved like special forces. 3 security checkpoints before entering the main building. The elevator required biometric scanning and retinal verification. The penthouse was understated elegance. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul's glittering sprawl. Minimalist furniture that cost more than cars. Art on the walls that belonged in museums. Jin Doyen stood by the window, hands in his pockets, looking out at his city. His mother sat on a cream-colored couch, sipping tea like she hadn't almost been murdered 3 hours ago. Welcome, Jin Mi-young said. We haven't been properly introduced. I'm Jin Mi-young. Sema? Just Sema? just Sema. Jin Doyeon turned from the window. Your old apartment is currently being torn apart by Park Sang-woo's men. They'll find nothing. You were smart about that. Practice. How many safe houses have you burned through in 8 years? Enough to know how to pack light. He almost smiled. I'll show you to your room. Guest wing, east side. Private, secure. My mother's room is in the west wing. I'm center. Security monitors everything. The guest room was larger than her entire Ida 1 apartment. King bed, private bathroom with a tub that could fit 3 people, walk-in closet, windows with bulletproof glass and blackout curtains. It's too much, Sema said. It's what you deserve for saving my mother. Jin Mi-young touched her shoulder. Get some rest. Tomorrow we plan. Tonight you're safe. After they left, Sema locked the door, checked the windows, mapped the exits. Found 2. Doors and windows dropped to a lower roof. Then she sat on the bed, soft, expensive, wrong, and pulled out her regular phone. 3 missed calls, all from the Velvet Tower. They'd be firing her about now. She deleted the calls, powered down the phone, stared at the ceiling. 10 weeks. She could survive 10 weeks. She'd survived 8 years. What was 10 more weeks? The family dinner was scheduled for Saturday night, 4 days away. Jin Doyeon spent those 4 days preparing, teaching Sema about the family structure, who was loyal, who was bought, who was dangerous. My uncle, Jin Sang-ho, is weak. He married Baek Ji-soo for her family's connections. She's the power behind him. She makes the decisions, he signs the papers. And Minwoo? My cousin is entitled, arrogant, not particularly bright but thinks he is. He's been groomed by his mother to take my place since we were children. She's convinced him he deserves it more than I do. Does he? Jin Doyeon smiled. What do you think? I think he frequents the Velvet Tower to feel important. I think he meets with people like Park Sang-woo to pretend he has power, and I think his mother pulls every string. Exactly, which makes her the real threat. And Saturday? Saturday, the entire family comes together. Aunts, uncles, cousins. Traditional dinner at my grandmother's Hanak in Bukchon. It's neutral ground. No one makes moves there. But it's also where alliances are tested, where challenges are made. He looked at her. And where I'm bringing you. As what? As my guest, security consultant, close enough to the truth. Your family will ask questions. Let them ask. I'll introduce you as someone helping protect my mother after the incident at the Velvet Tower. They'll be curious, suspicious, but they won't challenge it. He paused. And Baek Ji-soo will be there. Sema's hands tightened into fists. Good. Remember the plan. We don't move until we have proof. We watch. We listen. We gather evidence, then we strike. I remember. Saturday came too fast and too slow. Sema wore black pants, black blazer, hair in an afro, no jewelry. She looked like exactly what she was, a weapon in formal wear. Jin Doyeon wore a charcoal suit that probably cost what most people earned in 6 months. Jin Mi-young wore a beautiful hanbok in deep blue, elegant and traditional. They arrived together at the Hanak in Bukchon, traditional Korean architecture preserved in the heart of modern Seoul. Private, exclusive, the kind of place where important families made important decisions. The family was already gathering. Sema counted them quickly. 14 people, 8 men, 6 women, various ages. Jin Doyeon's uncle stood to greet them. Jin Sang-ho, older, softer around the middle, weak eyes that shifted away from direct contact. Nephew, you're late. Traffic. Jin Doyeon gestured to Sema. This is Sema. She's consulting on security matters. A woman stood from across the room, tall, elegant, late 50s but well-preserved. Designer hanbok in subtle gray, hair styled in a perfect chignon, eyes that missed nothing. Security? How unusual. Sema looked at her, felt her world narrow to a single point. That face. She'd memorized it from her father's old photographs, from the grainy photo the nurse had shown her, from 8 years of hunting. Baek Ji-soo, the woman who killed her mother, standing 3 meters away, alive, wealthy, powerful, smiling. Mother's recent incident made security necessary, Jin Doyeon was saying. Incident. Baek Ji-soo's voice dripped with false concern. What happened, Mi-young? I heard rumors, but I thought surely they were exaggerated. Just a misunderstanding at the Velvet Tower, Jin Mi-young said lightly. Nothing serious. Nothing serious? I heard 6 men were hospitalized, that Park Sang-woo himself was humiliated. Baek Ji-soo's eyes slid to Sema. Was this your doing, miss? Sema, she said. Her voice was steady despite the rage burning in her chest like swallowed fire. And yes, that was me. Silence rippled through the room. Jin Minwoo, standing behind his mother, stared at her. Recognition dawned. You're the waitress, from the tower. I was working there, yes. You're the one who... He stopped, glancing at his mother. Defended an elderly woman from Park Sang-woo. Sema finished, never taking her eyes off Baek Ji-soo. Yes, that was me. Baek Ji-soo recovered quickly, perfect mask sliding back into place. How fortunate that you were there, and how unusual for a waitress to have such skills. I'm full of surprises. I'm sure you are. Baek Ji-soo smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. Well, how interesting that my nephew has brought such an unusual guest to family dinner. Dinner was served, traditional Korean, multiple courses. Sema ate mechanically, tasting nothing. Every cell in her body was aware of Baek Ji-soo sitting across the table, close enough to touch, close enough to kill, but not yet, not without proof. After dinner, Baek Ji-soo approached her in the courtyard. Traditional lanterns cast soft light across carefully raked gravel. Walk with me, Miss Sema. It wasn't a request. They walked to the koi pond. Water burbled over stones. Fish moved in lazy circles, orange and white in the lamplight. You're not what I expected, Baek Ji-soo said. Most people say that. Jin Do-yeon doesn't bring strangers to family dinners. You must be very special to have earned that privilege so quickly. I saved his mother's life. So I heard. 6 armed men. Very impressive. Baek Ji-soo studied her. Tell me, Miss Sema, what do you know about this family? I know Jin Do-yeon is trying to legitimize his father's empire, and I know some people don't want that to succeed. Perceptive, but incomplete. Baek Ji-soo's voice dropped. This family was built on blood, on sacrifice, on understanding that power requires ruthlessness. Jin Do-yeon thinks he can wash away that history with legitimate business and clean hands, but some stains don't wash out. Is that what you tell yourself? Sema stepped closer. That the blood on your hands is justified? Careful, girl. Or what? You'll have me killed? Sema smiled without warmth. I've met people who make threats, and I've met people who follow through. You're the first kind, all elegance and poison, no courage to do your own violence. Baek Ji-soo's eyes flashed. You have no idea what I'm capable of. Don't I? Sema leaned in, whispered. I know exactly what you're capable of. I know about Lagos, about a Korean man and a Nigerian woman, about jealousy so strong it turned to murder. Baek Ji-soo went very still. What did you say? You heard me. 28 years ago. You killed a woman named Joyce, made it look like childbirth complications, paid a nurse to poison her, all because the man you wanted chose her instead. The color drained from Baek Ji-soo's face. That woman was my mother, Sema continued, her voice soft as silk and sharp as razors. And I've spent 8 years finding you, so whatever you're planning for Jin Do-yeon, whatever coup you're arranging, it doesn't matter, because before this is over, you're going to pay for what you did to my mother. Baek Ji-soo's hand moved toward her purse. Sema caught her wrist. Don't, not here, not yet, because I'm not going to just kill you. I'm going to destroy everything you've built, strip away your power, your reputation, your family's respect, make you feel as helpless as my mother felt when your poison took her life. She released Baek Ji-soo's wrist. Enjoy the dinner. It might be your last as a member of this family. Sema walked away, left Baek Ji-soo standing by the koi pond, trembling with rage and fear. Jin Do-yeon found her by the entrance. That looked intense. She knows who I am now. Good. Let her know you're not afraid. Let her know she's being hunted. He studied her face. How do you feel? Like I want to go back there and finish this now. But you won't, because we're smarter than that. We wait, we gather proof, we do this right. He touched her shoulder. 3 more weeks. Can you wait 3 more weeks? Sema looked back at the courtyard, saw Baek Ji-soo still standing by the pond, staring at nothing. Yes, she said, I can wait. I've waited 8 years. 3 more weeks won't kill me. But it might kill her, Jin Do-yeon said softly. The waiting, knowing that someone is coming for her, the fear, sometimes that's worse than death. 5 days after the family dinner, Jin Do-yeon called Sema to his office. She found him staring at a file on his desk, jaw tight with frustration. Problem? She asked. Yes. He slid the file across to her. His name is Choi Dae-hyun, private wealth manager for Seoul's elite, including the criminal ones. He manages offshore accounts, hides money, keeps records of every dirty transaction his clients make. Sema, Opened the file. Photographs of a man in his early 40s, handsome in a slick corporate way, expensive suits, designer watches, confident smile. And he manages my aunt's finances, has for the past 15 years, which means he has records of everything. The bribes to council members, the payments to mercenaries, the offshore accounts. Jin Doyen's voice hardened. And if my intelligence is correct, he inherited files from his predecessor, files that go back 30 years. Sema's pulse quickened. The payment to the nurse. Exactly. Choi Dae-hyun has proof of the money Baek Ji-soo paid to have your mother killed. Documentary evidence, dates, amounts, transaction records, everything we need. So get a warrant, raid his office. He operates in legal gray areas. Technically, everything he does is legitimate wealth management. We'd need probable cause, which we don't have. And even if we did, he keeps his most sensitive files in a private safe in his VIP office at an exclusive club in Gangnam. Members only. No cameras, no witnesses. Complete discretion. So we break in. He has security, biometric locks, armed guards. It's not impossible, but it's messy. And if we fail, he'll destroy everything and disappear. Jin Doyen stood, walked to the window. There's another way. Which is? He has a weakness, beautiful women. He frequents the club every Thursday night, takes meetings in the main lounge, shows off, flirts, looks for companionship. Sema understood immediately. You want me to get close to him? I want someone to get close to him, gain his trust, get invited to his private office, access the safe. Someone, not me. Definitely not you. Why not? He turned to face her. Because it's dangerous, because if something goes wrong, nothing will go wrong. I've done undercover work before. This is different. How? Because... He stopped, ran his hand through his hair. Because I don't want you anywhere near him. This isn't about what you want. This is about getting proof, destroying Baek Ji-soo, getting justice for my mother. She stepped closer. I can do this. I'm trained for this, and I'm the best option you have. No. Jin Doyen, I said no. We'll find another way. She stared at him, saw something in his eyes she hadn't seen before. Fear, not of Choi Dae-hyun, not of the mission, fear of losing her. You don't get to make this decision for me, she said quietly. I'm not yours to protect. We're partners, equals, remember? Partners don't send each other into situations like this. Partners trust each other to do what needs to be done. She held his gaze. I'm doing this, with or without your approval. Silence stretched between them. Finally he exhaled. Fine, but we do it my way. Full surveillance, I'll be watching the entire time, armed back up outside. The second anything feels wrong, we pull you out. Agreed. And Sema? His voice dropped. If he touches you, he'll touch me. That's the point. I need him to think I'm interested, available, worth impressing. Jin Doyen's jaw clenched so hard she heard his teeth grind. How far are you willing to go? As far as it takes to get the proof. That's not an answer. It's the only answer I have. He turned back to the window. Thursday night, the club is called Azure. I'll have everything ready. Wardrobe, cover story, backup. She left him standing there, silhouetted against the Seoul skyline, hands clenched into fists. Thursday came too fast. Sema stood in front of the mirror in the guest room, barely recognizing herself. The dress was midnight blue, silk, cut low in front, lower in back, fit like a second skin, heels that added 3 inches to her height, hair blown out, full afro, makeup, subtle but devastating, red lips, smoky eyes. She looked expensive, dangerous, available, everything Choi Dae-hyun would want. Jin Myung knocked, entered without waiting for permission, stopped, stared. Oh, she breathed. Oh, you look wrong, Sema finished. I look wrong. You look beautiful, powerful, like a woman who could destroy a man without lifting a finger. Jin Myung smiled. My son is going to lose his mind. That's not the goal, isn't it? The older woman's eyes twinkled. Be careful tonight, not with the target, with my son. Jealousy makes men stupid. He won't interfere, he promised. He's in love with you. Promises mean nothing against that. Sema turned from the mirror. We're not. Child, I've been watching him watch you for 3 weeks. I know what love looks like, and I know what a man looks like when he's terrified of losing something precious. She touched Sema's cheek. Just be careful, with both of them. Azure occupied the top 3 floors of a glass tower in Gangnam. Members only, no signs, no advertisements. If you had to ask, you couldn't afford it. Sema arrived at 9 p.m. in a car Jin Doyen provided. Driver in a suit, black sedan playing the part. The doorman checked her name against a list, nodded, let her through. The elevator opened onto opulence, marble floors, crystal chandeliers, leather booths, a bar that stretched 30 feet, backlit bottles glowing like jewels, men in expensive suits, women in designer dresses, old money and new money and dirty money, all mixing together. She scanned the room, found him. Choi Dae-hyun sat in a corner booth, 2 men with him, bodyguards trying to look like friends. He was laughing at something, drink in hand, diamond cufflinks catching the light. Handsome, confident, arrogant, perfect. She walked to the bar, ordered a drink, positioned herself where he could see her. Waited. It took 4 minutes. I haven't seen you here before. His voice was smooth, cultured, soul elite trying to sound casual. I'd remember. She turned, gave him a smile, calculated, interested but not desperate. First time, a friend recommended it. Smart friend. He gestured to the empty stool next to her. May I? If you'd like. He sat, signaled the bartender. Whatever the lady is drinking and another for me. Up close, he was even more polished. Expensive cologne, manicured nails. Watch that cost more than most cars. Everything about him screamed money and power and zero consequences. Choi Dae-hyun. He extended his hand. Sema. She took it, let the contact linger just a moment too long. Just Sema. For now. He smiled. Mysterious, I like that. What brings you to Azure, just Sema? Curiosity, boredom, good company. She took a sip of her drink, not necessarily in that order. And have you found it? Good company? I'm starting to. In her ear, invisible, flesh-toned, state-of-the-art, Jin Doyen's voice crackled. He's hooked, well done. Now reel him in slowly. She ignored the calm, focused on Choi Dae-hyun. They talked. She played her role perfectly. Interested in his work, wealth management, she said, sounded fascinating. Impressed by his success, laughed at his jokes, touched his arm when he said something clever. All the while, his eyes traveled, down her neck, across her collarbone. Lower. She let him look. Part of the job. You know, Choi Dae-hyun said after his 3rd drink, most women I meet here want something. Money, connections, status. But you? I can't figure out what you want. Maybe I just want good conversation. Nobody just wants conversation, not at Azure. She leaned closer. Then maybe you're not asking the right questions. His pupils dilated. What should I be asking? Ask me if I want to see where you work. Do you want to see where I work? That depends. Is it impressive? Very. Then yes. She finished her drink. Show me. In her ear, Sema, wait, we should. She tapped the comm twice. The signal for I know what I'm doing. Trust me. Silence. Choi Dae-hyun stood, offered his hand. She took it. He led her through the club to a private elevator, biometric scanner, his palm. The doors opened. They rode up in silence. His hand moved to her lower back. Possessive, testing boundaries. She didn't pull away. The elevator opened onto a private floor. One door, another biometric lock. His office was all glass and steel, panoramic views of Seoul, desk that looked like modern art, bar in the corner, leather couch, and behind the desk, built into the wall, a safe. Impressive, she said. I do well. He walked to the bar. Drink? Please. While his back was turned, she scanned the room. Safe was biometric, probably fingerprint and retinal. She'd need him unconscious or cooperative. Neither would be easy. He handed her a glass. Whiskey, expensive. To new friends, he said. To new friends. They drank. He stepped closer. You know what I think, Sema? What? I think you're not here for conversation. I think you're here because you want something, and I think... His hand touched her waist. I think you're about to tell me what that is. She looked up at him, smiled. You're smarter than you look. Careful, that sounded like an insult. It wasn't. She set down her glass, stepped closer, close enough to feel his breath. I do want something. Name it. You. His eyes darkened. Is that so? That's so. He kissed her. She let him. His hands moved, one to her face, one to her waist, pulling her closer. Possessive, demanding, She kissed him back, played the part, let his tongue invade her mouth, let his hands wander. All the while, her mind calculated. His jacket pocket, phone, his desk, keycard, his fingers. She'd need prints and retinal. Difficult, but not impossible. The office door exploded open. Jin Doyen stood there, fury radiating from every line of his body. Get your hands off her. Choi Dae-hyun jerked back. Who the hell? Now! Sema's stomach dropped. No, not now, not yet. She didn't have the prints, didn't have access. Doyen, what are you? We're leaving. He crossed the room in 3 strides, grabbed her wrist. Now! Wait! Choi Dae-hyun stepped between them. I don't know who you think you are, but... Jin Doyen's fist caught him in the jaw. Clean, brutal. Choi went down hard, blood on his lip. Doyen, stop! Sema pulled free. What are you doing? Ending this. He turned to the 2 bodyguards who'd followed him in. Take him downstairs. Make sure he doesn't remember tonight. The guards moved, efficient, professional. Sema stared at Jin Doyen. You just blew the entire operation. I don't care. You don't. She laughed, bitter and furious. We needed him conscious, cooperative. I was this close. I know exactly how close you were. I watched the whole thing. His voice was ice over rage. Watched you flirt with him, touch him, let him put his hands on you, let him kiss you. That was the job. For the mission, for the proof, for my mother. There are other ways to get proof. Name. One that doesn't take months we don't have. She crossed her arms. You promised you'd let me handle this. You promised you wouldn't interfere. He said nothing, just stared at her with something raw and desperate in his eyes. You're an idiot. Probably. She wanted to scream, wanted to hit him, wanted to... Her phone buzzed. She pulled it out. Message from one of Jin Doyen's tech people. Got what you needed. Check your email. She opened her email, found an attachment, video file, time-stamped from 10 minutes ago. She played it. Footage from a hidden camera in her necklace, the one Jin Doyen's team had given her. The angle showed Choi Dae-hyun's office perfectly, the safe on the wall, the keypad visible when he'd walked past, and critically, his fingers entering the code. Clear, visible, recordable. She looked up at Jin Doyen. Your people bugged me. Of course we did. You think I'd send you in there without backup plan? You said the jewelry was just for show. I lied about that too. Another message came through, this one with photos, fingerprints lifted from the glass Choi Dae-hyun had handed her, retinal scan captured by micro camera in her earring when she'd looked up at him. Everything they needed, biometric data, safe code, access to everything. Your team already has access to the safe, don't they? They're pulling files right now, should have everything within the hour. Sema stared at him. Then why did you storm in here? If your team already had what we needed, why... Because watching him kiss you was killing me, and I didn't care anymore if the mission succeeded or failed. I just needed it to stop. He stepped closer. I know that makes me selfish. I know it makes me weak, but I don't care. You can hate me for it. You can leave, but I'm not going to apologize for interfering. She should be angry. She was angry, but under the anger, something else, something warm and terrifying and completely unwelcome. You're an idiot, she said again, softer this time. I know. And jealous. Catastrophically. And you ruined everything. Except I didn't, because you already got what we needed. Only because your people planned around your jealousy. He smiled slightly. They know me well. She wanted to stay angry, couldn't quite manage it. Take me home, she said, before I change my mind about not hitting you. Fair enough. 3 hours later, Jin Doyen's team delivered. File upon file, transaction records going back 30 years, evidence of bribes, evidence of payments to mercenaries, evidence of corruption, and, most importantly, a record from 28 years ago. Payment from Baek Ji-soo to a nurse named Kim Soo-jin, 200 million won. Memo line, special services rendered. Cross-referenced with the hospital where Joyce had died. The date of birth, Sema's birthday. The nurse's signature on the death certificate. Proof, undeniable. Documentary, proof, Sema. Stared at the file until her eyes blurred. Jin Doyen stood behind her, silent, waiting. We have her, Sema said finally. We have her. What happens now? Now we call the family council, present the evidence, let them decide. They'll exile her, like they exile everyone. No. His voice was stone. Not for this. Murder of an innocent woman, attempted murder of my mother, corruption, treason. For this, she doesn't get exile, she gets justice. The council met 2 days later. Every member, even the ones Baek Jisoo had bribed, their names were on the list, their payments documented. They came because refusing would be an admission of guilt. Jin Do-yeon presented the evidence, bank records, transaction histories, communications, and the payment to Kim Soo-jin cross-referenced with Joyce's death. Then he called Sema to speak. She stood, faced the council, faced Baek Jisoo, who sat rigid in her chair, face pale but defiant. My name is Hana Jae-sung, Sema began, daughter of Jae-sung Taemin and Joyce. 28 years ago, my mother died the night I was born. For years, I believed it was natural causes, childbirth complications. She pulled out the folder, the one she'd been carrying for 8 years. After my father's death, I investigated. I found the nurse who'd been present, Kim Soo-jin. It took me 3 months to find her, 2 weeks to make her talk. Sema's voice was ice. She confessed that she'd been paid to administer poison during my mother's labor, paid to make it look like natural complications. She gave me proof, receipts, communications, everything. Before she died, she gave me one more piece of information, the name of the woman who'd paid her. She looked directly at Baek Jisoo. You killed my mother because she had what you wanted, because my father chose her instead of you, because you couldn't handle rejection. Baek Jisoo stood. This is fabrication, lies from a dead woman who... Jin Do-yeon cut her off. Kim Soo-jin's confession is corroborated by documentary evidence. Your payment to her, 200 million won, dated 3 weeks before Joyce's death. Memo, special services rendered. He projected the bank record onto the screen. Furthermore, he continued, we have evidence of your attempted coup, bribes paid to council members, names and amounts documented, communications with Park Sang-woo coordinating attempts on my mother's life, all of it traced back to accounts you control. The council members shifted. The ones who'd been bribed looked sick. Jin Do-yeon's grandmother stood. The evidence is overwhelming. Multiple murders, multiple attempts, corruption, treason. She looked at Baek Jisoo. Do you have anything to say in your defense? Baek Jisoo's mask finally cracked. I did what I had to do. Jae-sung Taemin was mine. We were betrothed. It was arranged, agreed upon, and he threw it away for a servant, a nobody. Her voice rose. I loved him. I would have given him everything, but he chose her, so I took her away, just like she took him from me. Silence. And the coup? The grandmother asked. Jin Do-yeon is weak, sentimental. He's trying to legitimize an empire built on blood. It won't work. My son is stronger, better suited. The family deserves better leadership. Your son, Jin Do-yeon said quietly, frequents the Velvet Tower to play at being powerful. He meets with men like Park Sang-woo to feel important. He has no vision, no strategy, no loyalty. He's a reflection of you, ambitious without substance. Jin Min-woo started to stand. Sema's hand on his shoulder pushed him back down. The grandmother looked at each council member. All in favor of exile for Jin Min-woo? 14 hands raised, unanimous. And for Baek Jisoo, given the severity of her crimes, murder, attempted murder, treason, I propose life imprisonment, to be served in a facility outside Seoul. No contact with family, no possibility of release. She looked around the table. All in. Favor? 14 hands, including the ones she'd bribed. The vote is passed. The grandmother's voice was final. Baek Jisoo, you are hereby sentenced to life imprisonment. Jin Min-woo, you are exiled. You have 48 hours to leave Seoul. If you return, the consequences will be permanent. Baek Jisoo's face crumpled. You can't. You gave this family nothing but poison and shame, the grandmother said. Sema, do you have anything to add? Sema looked at the woman who'd killed her mother, saw fear there now. Real fear. The reality of life in prison, decades in a cell, alone, forgotten, settling over her like a shroud. No, Sema said quietly. She's not worth any more of my words. Let her live with what she's done. That's justice enough. Baek Jisoo was taken away. Jin Min-woo followed in silence. Park Sang-woo was found dead the next morning. Single gunshot. Apparent suicide. Nobody believed it. Nobody investigated. 1 week later, Sema stood on the rooftop of Jin Do-yeon's compound, watching the sun set over Seoul. She heard footsteps, didn't turn around. You've been up here a lot, Jin Mi-young said, joining her at the railing. It's peaceful. Or you're avoiding something. Sema smiled slightly. Maybe both. They stood in silence, comfortable, easy. How do you feel? Jin Myung asked. Now that it's done, now that she's locked away. Empty, Sema admitted. I thought I'd feel satisfied, vindicated, but mostly I just feel tired. Justice isn't always satisfying, but it's still justice. Your son said the same thing. He's smarter than he looks. Jin Myung smiled. What happens now? You got what you came for. Your mother's killer is imprisoned. Your father's organization is dismantled. You could leave, start over somewhere new. I could. But I don't know what that looks like anymore. I've spent 8 years hunting, running, hiding. Now it's done and I don't know who I am when I'm not doing those things. Jin Myung touched her hand gently. Then stay, figure it out here, with people who care about you. Your son is in love with you, has been for weeks. Anyone with eyes can see it. She squeezed Sema's hand. And I think you might feel the same way, even if you're not ready to admit it yet. I don't know how to do this. Trust, belong, be part of something without it falling apart. Neither does he. His father was cruel. His childhood was lonely. He spent his whole life building walls. Jin Myung smiled. But he's willing to try. For you. The question is, are you willing to try for yourself? Sema looked out at the city. Millions of lights, millions of lives, millions of people finding their way through darkness. Maybe she could too. I don't want to promise anything I can't keep, she said finally. Then don't promise, just stay, see what happens, take it one day at a time. Jin Myung's eyes twinkled. Besides, I make very good kimchi, jjigae, and someone needs to teach my son that jealousy is not an acceptable mission strategy. Despite everything, Sema laughed. Okay, she said, I'll stay, for now, to see what this could be. Jin Myung beamed. Excellent. 2 weeks later, Jin Myung announced a family dinner. Sema showed up in black pants and a blazer. Jin Doyun wore a suit. Dinner was traditional, homemade, perfect. After dessert, Jin Myung cleared her throat. I have an announcement. My son refuses to marry, refuses to give me grandchildren, so I've decided I'm adopting Sema as my daughter. Jin Doyun choked on his wine. Mother, you can't, why not? She saved my life. She deserves family. But we're what, dear? We're partners. So, you can work with your sister. She's not my sister. Then what is she? Jin Doyun stared at Sema, then at his mother. He set down his glass. You're trying to adopt my future wife. Silence. Jin Myung smiled, innocently. Future wife? Have you proposed? No, but... He turned to Sema. I know we said partners, equals. I know you need time, but I can't watch you with someone else again. Can't pretend I don't feel this. He stopped, started again. I'm in love with you, have been for weeks, and I know you're not ready. I know you might never be, but I needed you to know. Sema stood, crossed to him. You're an idiot, she said quietly. Jealous, reckless. You almost ruined everything. I know. But you also gave me justice, family, a place to stop running. She touched his face. I'm not ready to promise forever, but I'm ready to try, to see where this goes, with you. He covered her hand with his. That's enough. Jin Myung raised her glass. To family. To family, Sema echoed. Jin Doyun covered her other hand. To us. Outside, Seoul glittered. Inside, Sema chose her family. And maybe that was enough. If this story hit you right in the feels, if you loved watching Sema get justice for her mother while finding a family she never expected, hit that subscribe button for more stories where revenge is sweet, family is complicated, and love sneaks up on people who swore they'd never fall. Drop a comment and tell me your favorite moment. I want to know. See you in the next story.